Recording has started.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Planning for a Healthy Business. Thank you all for joining us today. Um, I commend you all for joining us because I know that, starting a business is not easy. So, thank you all for being here today. My name is Sheree. I am a small business advisor for the SBDC, and I also work at the Urban Chamber. That's where my office is located at in Las Vegas, Nevada. A little bit about me. I have been working for myself since I was 26. I started a daycare center back in Ohio, which is where I'm from. And I also had an event center that I started as well. And with the event center, I actually did the whole startup process, all from, getting capital or getting funded and going through helpful programs like this. So do have that experience. So I know what it's like to be starting a business or to be in the pre-planning phase of your business. Um, so business ownership is like a marathon, right? It's kind of like, as you're planning, let's just say like if you want to eat right or if you're exercising and so on, planning is really like a set of activities that's going to ensure that your business stays healthy for the long run. So it's really important that you plan for your business, whether you're in the pre planning stage, right? You may not have your funding yet. You may not know everything that you're going to do for your business. You just have that idea. So you're in a really good place to be taking this class. Some people may be in a place where they're funded already and, it's time to hit the go button. And then there are other people who may have already launched their business and are already in the day to day phase of their business. But again, planning is not something that it doesn't end, right? If you're in your business or starting your business, you're always going to be planning. So keep that in mind, okay? So, the agenda for today, we're going to be really talking about a useful planning model, and it's called the four-step planning model. Okay. That's what we're going to be discussing. And let's see. So, let's jump right into it. Um, Before we do jump into the details of what that planning model is, ask yourself if you were to get funded today, or if you got your money today, if you had to start your business tomorrow, do you have a plan? Okay. A plan could be anything from your notes to a business plan. Do you have an operational plan? Do you have a marketing plan? How are you going to run your business from day to day? So ask yourself that. And I'd love to know what those questions are. I know this is a webinar, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so the four-step planning model, we'll go to the next slide. And it's really about four steps. It's a chart. We'll go to the next slide, slide number 7. So the first step is going to be your back of the napkin, as they call it, the back of the napkin plan. Okay, it's going to be on the next slide. And this is really like a um, note taking assessment, if you will. So I know as a business owner, I never stop making notes in my head, whether it's in my phone or it's in a notebook, just some things that I have in mind for my business that I want to do or implement for my business. Maybe, that I want to hire, or, it just really just depends. But I guess this first step is really about taking your notes and really like brainstorming some things that you have in mind for your business. So the second step is going to be, what do I need to go? Okay, so let's go back to the first step. So the back of the napkin plan is not just the note taking, but it's a matter of, is your business worthy enough, or is it going to make you money um, in the long run, right? So, like, we don't want to just start a business just to have a business. We want to start a business that's going to be profitable, that's going to be efficient, and that's going to be worth our time. There's nothing worse than starting a business and getting out of business, or quitting a business, or putting all that energy into your business, um, and then having to let it go, right? So we want to make that assessment before we start really, taking out loans, getting funded. Sometimes we have to maneuver our idea to make it profitable. So this first step, they call it the back of the napkin. Is it a go or is it a no go? Okay. So if you say you want to start a car cleaning business or a jewelry business, if you don't have another source of income, how is that going to be profitable, and is it going to be worth your time? Um, and keep in mind, sometimes you may not be able to hire right out, right? So does it make sense? Is this something that you're going to be able to, run, or, be profitable alone? Is this something that may take time to become profitable? Do you have time right now to really just invest in, running the business and getting it up and running before, or sorry, while you are working your full time job? Does it make sense? And not only does it make sense, but does it make sense from a money standpoint, right? Like if you have savings, or if you have to go and take loans out, are you going to be making enough to pay the loan back? Are you going to be making enough to pay people to work for you? Are you going to be making enough to put into savings, right? And this may not happen right away. This may take months to establish, but you want to make a decision on, is it going to be worth your time? Another question to ask yourself is, what size business do you need to build to achieve certain benefits or certain profits, right? So if you are, for example, going back to the car cleaning business, are you going to make enough to feed your family just with one vehicle, right? Or do you need to scale and make it a franchise, or have a few people under you, to go and reach different customers? Do you need to, for example, get contracts with different companies or key partners in the community, to really be able to see the return that you would like to see, right? Um, so let's think about that for a second. Whatever business you have, consider that. Also, have you identified a real business opportunity on which you can capitalize? Maybe, for example, maybe car cleaning is not, maybe that's not the answer. Maybe you have to maneuver the idea of a car cleaning business to, for example, a transportation business, or a mobile pet cleaning business, or something similar that may bring you in more money. Um, or maybe something, what do they call it? Not remote, but where they mobile, right? So a car cleaning business, for example, maybe you make house calls, or you actually go to the customer. Maybe that's how you may become more profitable, or maybe you need to open up a car wash. So think about those things and what's really going to be worth your time, what's going to be worth your energy, and what's going to be worth the money. If you have to take out funding, is it going to be worth taking out that funding or that capital? Some other questions that you may want to ask yourself in this first planning model is, what do you need in terms of, if you do need funding, what are you going to do with it? So, what do you need to purchase? What do you need to rent or lease? And who do you need to hire? Do you need to hire people with experience, or can you hire teenagers for after school? Do you need to hire, would it be in your best interest to hire um, seniors, right? Or not seniors, but maybe people who are retired, who are maybe just looking for some extra income and something to do during their day, where they've already lived their life and worked, and they just need the extra income. That may be more affordable for you, right? If you are saying, okay, I need someone with X amount of experience, someone with a degree, remember, they're probably going to require more money. So I always try to figure out, if I do need help, the cheapest way to get the help. And sometimes it may not also be putting someone as an employee. Maybe they need to just be a contractor. That way, for example, you do not have to pay um, for medical expenses or certain taxes, right? You can just cut the check, and it's transactional. So keep that in mind. As we cover step one, okay, with the 4-step planning model. So, step two is going to be all about resources and creating a resource plan, okay? What is a resource plan? A resource plan is anything, I would say, from a balance sheet to um, it's kind of like that pre-business plan assessment for your business. So, what equipment do you need? What supplies do you need? What talent or maybe mentorship or skills and development do you need? How much do all of these things cost? And on the back end of your business, do you need an accountant, right? Do you need a bookkeeper or someone to do your taxes, for example? Do you know when your taxes are due? So I think for retail, I think you have to file, I think quarterly, or you can file every 6 months. I'm not sure. I know different states are different. But you need to keep that in mind, because before you go into business, before you really make that LLC, you need to know, how do you file your taxes? What forms do I need to have completed? Right? This is all about the plan, right? The bigger plan in the day to day, month to month, year to year things that have to be done with your business. Also, keep in mind that once you start your business, right, it's one thing to be operating your business, but it's another thing to not just be in the day to day of it, but you have to have that back end, that office work, that admin. You have to keep up with that. Otherwise, it'll pile on and pile on. So before you really go really deep into your business, you want to have those things planned out and mapped out, whether it's reminders on your phone, whether it's um, creating certain contacts that that you'll need, in 3 months and 6 months. Okay, I met a tax preparer. Okay, I met an accountant. Okay, let me reach out to these people before I get started, and let them know that I will need you in 2 months and 3 months, or even just knowing, okay, what is your fee, right? Maybe setting up some type of consultation with them prior to needing them and knowing what are your fees, because you're going to have to, I mean, hopefully you'll put that in your business plan, but you want to know the fees that you're going to be incurring before you get into business. So that's part of creating that resource plan. Resources of people that you need, resources of documents that you need to do and file, things that you need to do with the county if you're in Las Vegas, which I think most everyone here is in. Um, we have Clark County, so you do have to file with them. You also have to file city taxes and documents. And then you also have to file at the state as well through Silverflume. So all of those departments are going to require filing fees. They are going to require keeping up with them. For example, I believe with Silverflume, you have to be in good standing. So that has to be done every year. Okay, so you want to know what those things are going to cost you even after you start your business. Okay, so that's just something to keep in mind with your resources. So, with the resource plan, the really big question is, and we'll go to the next slide. Okay, we'll go to the next slide. The really big question with the resource plan is, what do you need to make your vision, your business, your goals a reality? Do you need a website? Do you need a certain credit score to get funded, right? So before you even start your business, do you have the proper credit? Because I can tell you right now from experience, it's so easy to have this big grand idea, but if you don't have the money to do it, sometimes you may have to take a step back and get your credits together so that you can get funded, right? So that you can have the proper capital that you need to make your business successful. Part of also, I think, resource planning is, you don't want to just go into your business any kind of way. You really want to be set up for success, okay? And this is, without speaking about creating a business plan, a marketing plan, you really want to be set up for success. So if you need people to help you run the day to day, even if it's getting a virtual admin or hiring someone, part time, or to clean or take some of that weight off your shoulder, make sure you put that into your numbers as you're preparing to get funded. Because there's not, as a business owner, you're going to be wearing so many hats. So it's going to be very important, very vital that you take some of the weight off your shoulder if you can, especially if you're not good at the things that you need. For example, if you are great at marketing and you're great at, running the day to day, maybe you're not so great at creating a website, right? So you need to create um, some 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 capital there. You need to have some funding put aside to have your website created. Um, you may need some funding set aside for mentorship. And I can tell you right now, I highly suggest hiring some type of mentor, um, or even a consultation, month to month, or an advisor to really check in um, on your business, to consult with them. Because if you're going into something, for example, like transportation and logistics, drive freight, or you're going into something like real estate and you want to invest, those things could take time and energy really figuring out how to do it correctly. So if you could save time and go into it correctly at the beginning, I would highly suggest finding some type of mentor that can help you along the process so that you don't have to bump your heads too many times. And that's just something to keep in mind. Another thing to consider is, are you ready for all of this? Okay, and this is kind of going back to step number one. Um, and we will continue on to the next slide really quick. Okay, all the way to step number two. So this slide here is just like I was saying, you want to configure or figure into your expenses some things that you may have to pay for, right? Space, equipment, skill development. Maybe there are courses that you may have to take, or you have to get certain certificates, right, to do what you need to do. I know I have a lot of clients who are therapists, who are um, in those type of fields where they need certain certificates and licenses. So definitely put that into your startup costs. Again, insurance and taxes. If you're doing something, for example, like transportation, or you're going to be working a lot with things that are liable, please configure in your insurance. Okay. So I know Progressive, Liberty Mutual, try all of those insurance companies and get a quote, right? Even if you don't know, for example, exactly what you're going to be doing, it's great to just have that roundabout number so that you can configure it into your expenses. Okay. So we're going to go to the next slide. And this is still part of step number two, where we're talking about the resource plan. The next slide. Okay. So part of planning is just not about, making notes and things like that. But now we're going to be talking about, how do you really get into the real numbers and being intentional and having um, real information to assess what you really need to move forward in your business. If you are talking about something that requires a location, where are you going? Where do you have in mind that you're going to open your location, right? If you have a food truck or a trailer, where are you going to set up, right? What lots are available? Have you start talking to some owners who maybe own lots or own properties? Can you set up there? How many days a week? How much does it cost? Maybe you're able to negotiate some things. Really just start getting an idea of how much is your overhead going to be exactly. Again, we talked about equipment and supplies, really thinking about how much those things are going to be. If you're doing something in the restaurant business, are there businesses here that you can benefit from, like Sam's? I know that they work a lot with businesses. Can you get a Sam's card? Would that work for you? Um, and really just locating also discounted equipment and supplies. Everything does not have to be brand new, and keep that in mind when you are starting off. Okay. There's secondhand items everywhere, and things that probably seem and look just as brand new as they would be right off the shelf. So think about that. I have a lot of customers or clients, they come to me and they want all new stuff, new equipment, new this, new generator. But some things you can get for half the price, some things you can get donated, things that are not even reaching your customer, right? Things that you just need to have to be able to operate your business. So keep that in mind. Also, like for example, do you need to buy in bulk, right? Sometimes, for example, if you're doing something in retail, I would not suggest buying in bulk, right? Because you're going to have too much inventory. So always think about, and this step number two, think about how can you start your business with as less as possible, right? Because sometimes when you have a grand idea and you want to go into it so grand, it's okay to do that, but you don't want to spend unnecessary money. You don't want to have things around that you may not really need, right? Especially if you're just starting, right? You do your research and you come up with all the things that you think you'll need, but it's not until you're really up and running that you can really assess what you actually need, right? You don't want to go spending thousands of dollars on something that you probably only use once or twice a month. So sometimes you may just have to wait until you're up and running to really make a big purchase. And I'll give you another example, even within the transportation industry, right? If you're looking to be a motor carrier, you may not want to, for example, go out and purchase a brand new box truck or semi. Maybe you want to lease the truck. So keep all of that in mind when you are um, thinking about your numbers, comparing numbers and prices, and how to be more efficient when just starting your business, right? So the big question is, are you ready to go on to the next step after you have assessed all of the capital and resources that you need to start your business, right? And are you able to afford it? Do you have the funds? And again, if you don't have the funds and you need capital, then I would highly suggest you go back to step number one, and even prior to step number one, getting your credits together. As a business owner, you should always be getting your credits together, right? Because it's going to make things a lot easier for you as you expand in your business, as you grow in your business, as even as you're starting your business. It just makes everything easier. Believe me, it does. Um, okay. So we'll go on to the next step. And the next step is really about the business plan. I know that if you are starting a business, you're in business, thinking about a business, you've heard about a business plan. And if this is your first business, I can tell you that I think when I started my first business, I think I dreaded the business plan, to be honest. But I can tell you that it's not that bad. And if you're looking for templates online, I know the Urban Chamber of Small Business Development, we have access to a lot of templates that we can give you access to. So reach out to us and we'll be happy to send those over for you to use. And if you are a client of the Small Business Development Center, I can tell you now that we do have some awesome business plan, not templates, but software that we do allow a lot of our clients to use when they're at a phase where they're ready to start their business plan to get funding. And that will actually calculate a lot of your projections for you. So definitely reach out to someone at the SBDC. And if you don't know how to get in touch with us, reach out to the Urban Chamber and they can connect you with one of us. So when you talk about the business plan, I really like to think of a business plan as a vision board, right? But it's a vision board in words. It's not, in a bunch of pictures and fancy colors, but it's really about putting your vision on paper. And some people use their vision board for other people to read it, right? For them to maybe get funding or investors, that's great. But if nothing else, you need a business plan for yourself. Because as a business owner, you need to know what it's going to take for your business plan to get up and running, what you need when you actually get into your business on the day to day, what you need, who you'll need, how much everything costs. And it's really a great place to get your numbers down, knowing, okay, in the next year, in 6 months, in 5 years, I should be making this much, or this is how much I would like to make. right? And these are not just made up numbers. This is done through research, and it is done through a lot of research. Okay. So these are not made up numbers. So make sure you do your research as you are creating your business plan. So like I said, it's to me, it's a vision board just on paper, and it doesn't have to be pages like 30, 40 pages, right? Some people have those really long business plans, but they don't have to be. And if you are just starting out and you're not sure what to put in your business plan, I would say start very small, right? Write down what you can and then go from there. Like I said, we have access to templates, so I would definitely make sure you have a template that you're going off of, and then just grow it from there, because there are going to be things that you need to have in your business plan, right? Like your executive summary, um, a brief marketing plan, not even brief, right? Some businesses might not even need an elaborate business plan. Some businesses might need, you know, something less than 10 pages, where others you may need something a little bit more lengthier. So keep that in mind. Okay, so let's see here. So the business plan is going to outline your development plans in financial terms, and it's also going to outline your idea of your business, where you see your business going, where you want your business to go. And it really gives readers an idea of what your business is. So keep that in mind as you are drafting up your business plan. And like I said, you need this business plan for you. For you. That's what you need your business plan for. And there's not going to be anything like getting your business up and running and not knowing what to do, not having a vision for your business. Okay. Um, you want to have that. That's very, very important. Okay. And we'll go to the next step. Okay. So, as we talk about funding, right, we touched a little bit up on credit, um, but let's talk about some other ways to get funding. There's angel investors. There are people who will invest in your ideas. Crowdsourcing. There are a lot of different crowdfunding platforms. Kickstarter is one. I don't believe they service Nevada, but you've probably heard of Kickstarter before. And there's numerous others I can't really recall, but crowdsourcing is another one. Another one would be your friends and family. Are they able to invest in you? What about peer-to-peer lending? And even local and state economic development organizations. So I know here in Nevada, there are a lot of other programs aside from Urban Chamber and SBDC. Although we don't get funding, there are organizations that do. For example, Access. There is Dream Spring. That's another organization that helps with funding. And small business loans is always an option. Some people, they go into business and they don't want to take out loans, but the question is that realistic? A lot of people ask for grants. Is that realistic? In my opinion, no. um, and I really hate to say it like that, but when you're starting a business, people want to see what you're bringing to the table, right? So if you're not going to bet on yourself, then how can you expect someone else to bet on you? So going back to the credit thing, always be working on your credit. So when you go into the bank, you can get funded, right? Um, yeah, so I'll just say that. so that you can get funded. When it comes to grants, sometimes the stipulations may be that you have to be in business for a certain amount of years or months. And some industries might be easier to get grants for. And I don't want to rule out grants. It's just really hard to be like, okay, I'm going to get a grant. I'm going to get a grant. A lot of people come to us and they're looking for free money, but there's no such thing. And keep that in mind. There is no such thing as free money. Um, yeah, there's no such thing. Um, so, other sources of financial support, venture capitalists or venture capital incubators that actually might be a really good option for people who are looking to start certain type of industry specific businesses. Um, and we'll go to the next slide. If you need any other information on funding, you can definitely reach out to us at the Small Business Development Center. I know there's always SBA loans as well. And we do partner with a lot of different programs in the city to always, know what's going on and what type of funding opportunities to that are available for you all. So we talked a lot about planning, right? The topic is planning for a healthy business. Planning for a healthy business is also about being strategic. How do you plan for your future? How do you maneuver when you need to? Um, how do you go to plan B if plan A doesn't work? And for me, I really think the biggest thing is just minimizing risk. So I've had a couple businesses in the past, and I did really well. But I think for me, it's just going into business efficient and going into a business doing your best, right? So, sometimes we have these ideas and we get so overwhelmed with the different hats that we wear that we forget to really do our best. And sometimes we can do our best because we're so overwhelmed. So, think about that as you are planning for your business and you're creating your business planning, your action plan, and your marketing plan. How do you do your best? And sometimes doing your best is taking on less, right? Don't overwhelm yourself if you don't have to. And I know we don't want to hear this as entrepreneurs, but less is best, number one. And number two, sometimes you have to go back to the drawing board. And number three, start small. Start small. If you can start small, start small. Okay. You can start small. So, because remember, it takes about 5 years, right, for your business to really be deemed as successful or, profitable, really. So, if you can start small, find ways to start small and create an action plan that's going to help you stay strategic. And we can help you with that at the Small Business Development Center as well. We do offer services that can help you. Um, so, part of being strategic, and we'll go to the next slide, is creating an action plan. And a good way to create an action plan is through SMART goals. Okay. SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time based. Okay. So we'll just look at this briefly. So, throughout this course, I know you've been seeing a lot of slides about Sophia, and we're not going to talk about Sophia in this webinar, but we're just going to go over just a little bit. This is just an example, right? So, SMART goals, for example, number one, she achieved to achieve an average monthly customer count of 500 within 3 months. Okay, so that's a very specific goal and it's measurable. And what are some things that you can do to achieve those goals, right? So you can advertise, right? You can increase your outreach, maybe in social media, on different platforms, Instagram, Facebook. Um, Success criteria. For this example is 400 customers in month one, 450 in month two, and 500 in month three. So she wants to achieve an average. Okay, so that's across all 3 months, and then having a time frame, right? So a time frame is just really being intentional and getting the goal accomplished. And then what resources do you need to make that goal achievable? So, for example, here, she needs a website upgrade. She needs $300 for an ad, or would like $300 for an ad, right? And something like this, for example, advertisement, is trial and error. Trial and error. And what I mean by that is, if her goal is $300 for an ad, she's going to try it for maybe the first, let's say, month one, two, and three. She's going to try the $300. If that does not bring her an average here, she knows that she has to then go back to her SMART goal and fix this. Did the ads work at all? Did they bring her an increase in clients at all? If they did, maybe she needs to increase the amount of money to put in for the next month until she reaches that goal of an average of 500 customers. Or maybe she doesn't need to do social media ads at all if they did not bring her in any clients, and her customers maybe came in through word of mouth, or maybe they came in through maybe hearing something on the radio, right? So keep that in mind when you are doing your marketing plan and you are doing your SMART goals. And some things are going to be trial and error. Okay, and we will go to the next slide. So this is just a recap of what SMART goals is. Being specific, right? You want to state a very specific goal and be precise about it. The second one is it measurable? When do you need to have it accomplished or completed by? Um, I think that, even in our day to day and going to work and, balancing life, we have these things that we need to accomplish outside of our business, right? So think about, how do you be as intentional as possible with getting those things done? For me, I have to make a to-do list or a task list. So being having something being measurable is really just about having a deadline so that you can get it done. And is it attainable in that amount of time? So, and what resources do you need to complete the goals that you're trying to reach? Any key partners in the area or in the area or community that you need to reach out to? Um, I tell my clients all the time, think about people, places, organizations that already are servicing your client. That's kind of like a 2 for 1, right? If you can go to those people, those places, those organizations, and reach out to their clients, um, that's always a good way to get people to come back over to your business and support your business. Um, and then we're going to talk about relevance. Is the goal applicable to your business? And then is it time based? So is the goal has a completion date or time frame? That kind of goes back up to, is it measurable? So always attach a goal, a deadline, or a time frame to your planning. especially to things like your marketing plan and getting funded, everything that has to do with your business, attach a time and a deadline to it. That's the only way to stay intentional. And that's the only way to have things completed. Okay, and we'll go to the next slide. So again, I commend you all for taking the next step to getting your business off the ground, launching your business, getting funded, wherever you are in the business planning stage. Um, Remember that you can do this, right? It's not easy. It's not easy. And running a business, being a business owner, it really is like a marathon. It's never ending, it's slow and steady, and it's really about trial and error as well. So, some things just to keep in mind is that there's more than one way to plan. If something isn't working out for you, try a different way. If the business plan isn't working out for you and you really don't need a business plan, you have capital and you don't need funding, then maybe you need a marketing plan. Maybe you need an operation plan, right? Maybe you need, just a few pages just to get your idea out. So do what works for you, right? You're a business owner for a reason. You call the shots. If you don't need some things, then find a different way or do something else that maybe suits what you're doing better. Also, remember that the planning process refines your ideas and it prevents errors. Um, Although I do believe in, as a business owner, it is about trial and error. When you do have a plan, you are able to see clearly the path ahead. As a business owner, sometimes there's so many things in our head that we don't know how to make it an action plan or really process how to get it done. And so, business planning, I definitely suggest taking a very seriously because it really can determine how successful your business can start off or be. So, just keep that in mind. Also, think about the type of plans need to change as your business needs to change. So I guess with that, as your business change, as you get customers or don't get customers, you may have to change some things that you thought initially you would need or you would have to do, or you know anything can change. So keep that in mind and be ready to change that. And I think part of planning for your business and planning for a healthy business is remembering that you're always going to be planning. You should be planning every day for your business. I would recommend even just taking, every morning, every night, just maybe an hour or two out of the day just to plan for the next day, for the next month, um, and really just, I guess you could say, how to make your business better also. Um, okay, so let's go to the next slide. So, some benefits and risk. Okay. So, a benefit of planning would probably be you can ask a lot of questions that you need to upfront. You can save a lot of time and money. If you don't plan, it could cost you money because you're going to be running into brick walls. You're going to be running into mistakes, things that could have been um, they could have been avoided. It also will help you be more logical when approaching your business in the day to day. Because if you don't plan ahead and you're planning in the actual day to day or like right in the moment, like an impulse plan, sometimes you can spend more money than you need to. Sometimes, again, you can make mistakes that could have been avoided. So keep that in mind. And it also will allow you to really focus on your finances. If if you are planning ahead, you can make better financial decisions on what you can afford for your business, and also maybe just knowing what you're bringing in and what you need to bring in the next day or the next month, and having those goals. If you do not plan, you can risk burnout. You can be burnt out and um, very overwhelmed with the business, because again, you are going to be wearing multiple hats. Um, and let's see, it says that you can miss opportunities to delegate. So I would definitely suggest finding ways to delegate in your business, and making that a part of your planning process, because again, you cannot wear all the hats. If you fail to do the math or to quantify success in practical business terms. Okay. So basically, as having a business and being a business owner, it's so easy to, be wrapped up in the idea, be wrapped up in, the day to day, and, just really doing the business, right? But again, we want to be efficient with the business and we want to make money with the business. That all goes back to step number one when we talked about the um the paper napkin step. What was that step called? The back of the napkin step, right? Is it a go or is it a no go? So keep that in mind, because we want to be efficient with our business. We don't want to just be running a business. We want to be making money with the business, right? And the goal is to be making more than just covering our bills, right? This is to create a new start, a financially sound beginning, and um, platform for our family and for ourselves, right? So that keep in mind that that is the ultimate goal of starting a business. Okay, and let's go to the next slide. So again, I am with the Small Business Development Center. My office is at the Urban Chamber of Commerce. And if you have any questions or final inquiries or concerns, or you need help with anything going forward in your business, definitely reach out to us so that we can be a resource to you. If we don't have the answers, we can always link you to someone else in the community. We partner with a lot of key partners in different organizations. So reach out to us. If you don't know where to start with funding, we can link you to some people as well. Again, I don't know necessarily too much about grants, but if you need help understanding certain things or planning for your business, definitely reach out to us. We can definitely help you with that. We do appreciate you taking the time out to take this class. Um, and keep in mind just, how important planning your business is. I can't stress that enough. Okay. So thank you for taking this Money Smart course. And again, reach out to us if you have any other questions. Have a good day.